not to be able to blow the shofar. I don't know. I'm telling you, I just think he saw somebody who wanted to marry, and he was a little bit nervous, so he couldn't be able to blow his shofar. And that's unlike him. You know, he's usually blowing the shofar. I just really think, he didn't want. Minister Michael, I don't want you to look at them. You're going to get nervous even more. Look at me. They're the ones who caused you not to be able to blow the shofar, because you're looking at them. If you want to marry her, just say the word. Nothing is impossible with Yah. Nothing is impossible with Yah. I know you worried that she may not say yes, but she will. Hallelujah. Yeah. Dude so nervous, he forgot his shofar time. But don't worry, man. Yeah, work in mysterious ways. Maybe when you go to her and she said yes, she said, "Can we do it now?" All right, we're gonna have Torah study this evening. All right, let's go to the book of Revelation. Those of you that know, who is the revelator? Is it Messiah or John? Messiah. It's Messiah. So it's not John the Revelator. Okay. All right. So Revelation 12, I'm going to read just a few verses, then we're going into 13. We're talking about prophecies, end time prophecies. And from verse 1 of chapter 12 says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. 12 stars, which is symbolic of the 12 tribe of Yisrael. As she being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven." So that is the description of one assembly. The first description, 1 and 2, is a description of the Hebrew assembly, the Hebrew Israelite assembly. Let me read it one more time. Look at the things about the Hebrew Israelite assembly that identify her. The Hebrew Israelite assembly has to have the symbol of 12 tribes. Okay? Everything about the kingdom of Yahuwah is hinged onto the 12 tribe of Israel. Everything. Now, verse 1 again says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars." 12 tribe of Israel. Verse 2, "She being with child," that means she's pregnant, "travailing to give birth, and pain to be delivered." Okay? So this woman represents the Hebrew Israelite assembly. But she could not have her baby because she was struggling. Verse 3 said, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and the 7 crowns upon the heads." That is the 7 European countries. 7 European countries, including Italy, England, France, Germany, all of these countries. Is really 10, but 7 here who were not defeated. Okay? But he said a red dragon, which means the head of the woman, the head of them. "And he stared through the third part of the stars in heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." Okay, verse 5. "And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto the sovereign Yahuwah, unto his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of her, of Yahuwah, that she should be free there 1,000, 2,000, 3 days. Let me stop a little bit. So, if you notice, this is a twofold definition. Number one, it is fact that when the devil was kicked out of Satan was kicked out of heaven, that it took a third He took 1/3 of the angels with him. Okay? And Yah kicked them out. It is also, if you go to Revelation 17, which we will go in a minute, it will show you the character of this woman. Okay? Mystery Babylon, mother of harlot, and it show you about how they adorn themselves. In other words, they have so much money they could adorn themselves and make themselves look right. The woman with the 12 stars is the Hebrew Israelite, is the tribe of Israel. And the woman was trying to have a baby. And she had to run away in the wilderness, which is referring to right after the disciple, right after Messiah's death, and the disciples begin to preach. They had a good period, like a real, what you call a high period. A lot of miracles, healing, dead raised, all kind of these things. Money flowing in the assembly. No doubt they built several new assemblies. When you have an increase of 2,000 people in one day, you can't fit them in the same assembly that you have yesterday. So it shows that they had to do a lot of construction in different places. However, it wasn't long before they died, every single one of them, except for the writer of the book of Revelation. Every one up until them died violently. Everybody died. So they enjoy first a moment of splendor. Miracles of all kinds. How could Peter be escorted out of a prison with the prison bar, big old gate, swing wide open, shackles fall off his hand? Paul and Silas in jail, and the angels will break down the jail, and yet they died at the hands of men, or at the hands of men. So it is simply saying here, they start out and they had to do their job, but then persecution set in. They were persecuted for 1,600 years, 1,260 years. Nothing was heard from the book of Revelation. Nothing was heard. Now, this is what John saw this. So let me bring you, kind of paint the picture here. John was the only Talmud that wasn't, he was the only one that weren't killed. Did they try to kill him? Yes. When they threw him on the Isle of Patmos, what happened?
I thought he was dead.
They threw him there for wild animals to eat him, but then he fell in a trance, or a cloud come over him. Yahusha visited him, and Yahusha began to speak with him. If you notice in the preceding verses, it says, the angel that come to him said, write these things, and what he wants him to reveal, that's why it's called a revelation. He said, reveal these things, but seal these things. Meaning he was only permitted to say what the angel told him to say. Now, the angel is showing him that for a long time, I'm going to skip and run over, or let me read, and then I'm going to run over to verse 14, but let me read through a few verses. Verse 5, it says, and she brought forth a man child, which is referring to Yahushua Mashiach, but also not just Yahushua Mashiach. Remember, the Messiah said to his Talmidim, go into all the world and preach, which means he duplicated himself, literally made them as powerful as he was, and they were able to go. All right? So as soon as the assembly begin to bear and begin to prosper, that's how Emperor Nero came into existence. And that's why they begin to call the people of Yah, or the disciples, they begin to call them Messianics. Messianics is a Hebrew term for the Greek term called Christians. Messiah, Christ. Messiah-like, Messianics. Christ-like, Christians. But we should not feel comfortable in using the Greek or the Latin term. Not because Greek is somewhat close, because again, if I showed you in the earlier study today, how Herod, how he intertwined himself into the Jewish nation. And it seemed like he was a Jew, and he was really not. So now, Yahuwah is showing, Yahushua was showing John the things that should come. And here is what it said from verse 6 down. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared at Yahuwah, that there should feed her there 1,260 days. 1,260 days, which is in prophetic years is 1,260 years. Okay, that's why we don't. You read everything you hear about scriptures only go back to the 14th century. Isn't that true? Everything you hear about scriptures, you hear nothing about 1100 years ago. You hear about the time when Messiah was here. That's 4,000. That's 2,000 years ago. Between Messiah and the 15th century, when the British give us the book, you hear nothing. So there was a period called a persecution period where they were killing people literally, and the disciples are those that followed. So the brethren that used to stick with it to me, they were chased out of Israel and killed and slaughtered, murdered. So they have to, they live in the wilderness, live in the bush for over 1,000 years. Nothing was heard about them. This was prophesied even before it happened. Okay, now it said, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against the angels and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. So while this is twofold, so we're speaking about when the devil was kicked out, but it has a double definition. There are some scriptures that have up to 3 definitions. This one has a definition of when the devil was kicked out of heaven, and at the same time, he's talking about the woman. The woman literally sounds like Messiah's birth. Like, is it referring to the birth of the Messiah? With Miriam, it is also referring to the time when Satan was kicked out, and it's also referring prophetically to the assembly. 3 definitions. Said, verse 8, the dragon fight and prevailed not, neither was there place anymore for them in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, or Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. So this part here is directly talking about when he was cast out into the earth. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now it is come salvation and strength. Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of Yahuwah, and the power of Messiah, for the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accused them before Elohim night and day. And they overcame him by the power of the Lamb. So now it kicks in, apart from Messiah now. They, the assembly, overcame the devil by the power of the Lamb. While in one part he's talking about how the devil tried to kill the Messiah, but Messiah did not. In the same way he will try to kill the assembly or kill the Hebrew Israelites. They overcame him by the blood, which means the saving power of Messiah, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. In other words, if you're truly a Hebrew Israelite, no matter how much security bars you build around your house, you can't hide from death. If you're a true Hebrew Israelite, live your life. And if you die for the sake of the name of Messiah, you die. You can't, if you buy a firearm, you can't always protect yourself. Because if you live by the weapons of this world, you're going to die that way. Alright? Live by the sword, die by the sword. And so he said, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimonies, and they loved their lives unto death. They loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice ye heaven, and he that dwelleth in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. He knows that he had but a short time. When the dragon saw that he was cast out in the earth, he persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man child. Again, it goes back to be showing like it's talking exactly like the Messiah and his birth. Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness unto her place, where she is nourished for a times and a half of time, from the face of the serpent. Okay? Time is 1, times 2. Half time is half of that. Okay? So 3.5 in the prophetic term, it would be 3.5 years in the literal term, but in prophetically it adds up to 1260 years. And literally, if you trace from the Talmudim and to the time when the Catholic Church, when Constantine the Great talk about the doing Sunday worship and all of that, you don't go beyond the 13th century. So right after the 12th century, as it turned, then would be a little bit of light begin to shine, because the wilderness period was about to be over. Hallelujah. It is right after the 13th century, run about the 15th century, somewhere there about, that they took us out of Africa, where our forefathers were hiding, went into Egypt to hide, and our forefathers were brought way from the 15th century. If the British give us independence in 1860 something, it's in the 18th century that the British give you. America just give not independence. Slavery. They lifted the ban of slavery in the 1860 something. The British did. America only just do it the other day in the 50s. Just the other day. America carried it for almost 100 years after the British. But it goes to show you that if we were free, not free, but if they release us after 400 years, then it goes back to show you it wasn't really long, maybe a couple of 100 years after the 1260 years. So if the Talmudim were busy for a good 40 years, I would say a good 40 years, because Paul, the Apostle Shaul, did over 20 years on his journey. He came in after the rest of the brethren. And if they carried on for, let's say, a good 40 years or so, and by the time they persecute them or whatever, and a little time run off, and you run over, let's say, to 100 years, so it would have been 4,001 years, and you go and take 2,100 years, or 23, almost 2,300 years out of that. Literally, the light of deliverance only started shining about 500 years ago. But then, when I say the light of deliverance just started shining, it didn't mean that we were even delivered. But we were brought out of there into the west. Not only were we brought out of there, remember that even in the time of the kingdom of the Medes and Persians, that our brothers and sisters, when Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem, that they were persecuted still. Remember, that was before Messiah came. Okay? After Messiah came, this prophecy is directly talking about the time after Messiah. Between Messiah and now is 2,000 years, about. So the greatest persecution is what happened to the disciples. They were killed. Now, what happened in the time of the disciples is going to happen again. They can suffer and struggle and go through all of that, and we just come here and sing Shabbat and happy and whatever. No, you're going to pay a price. Right? Let's see how our persecution is going to happen. So you see that they said when the dragon saw that he was cast out into the earth to persecute the woman, which brought forth the man child, and the woman were given 2 wings to fly like an eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness unto her place, where she is nourished for a times and half of time. Verse 15 says, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood, had after the woman, that he might cast her to be what? Carried away in the flood. I want to stop here for a while. And the serpent, the red dragon, And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as of a flood. Water and sea mean people in prophecy. Water and sea mean people. Now, it was like I said, Nero that said, he was the first one that said, I am a Christian too. After they begin to call the brethren Christians, they were calling them Messianic. And they say, I'm Messianic too. The Greek word would have been, I am a Christian too. Which is to say, if we Romans, who have the money and the ruling power, if we could orchestrate a business, build churches, we could be a flood over the few people that are truly Hebrew Israelites. Let me read it again. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water. So if you flood the righteous people, if those of us that are here, let's say there's 30 of us in this building right now, and if there are 3,000 people that come down on you, no matter what you're saying, you wouldn't be heard. No matter what you do, you wouldn't be seen. So the plan of the adversary is to allow a flood of people to declare that they were Christ-like too, and put a name on it called Christianity, hoping to drown out the real believers. So 15 again, the serpent cast out of his mouth many people. I'm going to paraphrase. Many people as a flood after the true assembly, that he might cause her to be carried away in the flood. That's why people say Christianity is right. Because you carry the same scriptures. You say you're talking to the same suffering, but you say that you should be a Christian, not a Hebrew Israelite. The flood is the flood that caused that. You want to see a joke? Listen to Christian preachers. As a Christian preacher, bishop, that talking about my Hebrew roots as a Christian. What kind of Hebrew roots as a Christian? You either Hebrew or Christian. Your Hebrew is, I'm going to say it. It is impossible for Yahuwah, for every single prophet, and if what I'm saying doesn't sound real to you, I want you to tell me this now, tonight, this evening. It is impossible for every prophet that write to be a Hebrew. It's impossible for all, listen, it's impossible for all the writers of the scriptures to be Hebrew. It is impossible for all of the prophets to write to the Hebrews. They're Hebrews and write to the Hebrews. And only 2 or 3 prophets say that the Gentiles will run to the Hebrews. Jeremiah said and Isaiah said. They said the Gentiles shall run to you, not you running to the Gentiles. Okay? Now here's what I'm saying again. It's impossible for all of the apostles to be Hebrews, all of the prophets to be Hebrews, all of the Hebrews, and then the Messiah just dump the Hebrews and find some Christians. That doesn't make any sense. So the question is, what are you doing with a Hebrew book? Studying Hebrew stuff, calling yourself apostolic. Apostolic comes from the word apostles. All the apostles were Hebrew. You can't be a Christian. You cannot be apostolic if you're a Christian. It is impossible. You're something else. It is impossible to be apostolic. It is impossible to be Pentecostal. God, Pentecost is only a Greek word for the Feast of Shalom or Shabbat. It's impossible. The Feast of Shabbat is a Hebrew feast day. Okay? So you cannot be apostolic or Pentecostal if you're a Christian. You can't be, because those words are not Christian. Pentecostal is Pentecost. The word word Pentecost simply means Shabbat. It's a Greek word for the Hebrew word. So, how can you carry a Hebrew name and be a Christian? It's impossible. And if all the prophets, there's not one prophet that was not a Hebrew. Why would all the prophets be the Hebrew? The Messiah be Hebrew? All the apostles be Hebrew? And then there's a sudden switch in the middle of the ocean? It's not even in the middle of the ocean. Yes?
Why are you saying if you cannot be what that word is
Apostle, you can't be an apostolate.
Why are you saying if you're a Christian
You can't be apostle. You cannot be an apostolate if you are a Christian. Christian is Christian, which means pagan. An apostolic is a Hebrew.
you go to church?
Yes, I know you go to church.
That means you're a Christian.
Yes, but we are not Christian. You're Christian.
You go to church instead.
No, I don't go to church. I come to the assembly.
Is that
No, it's not. It's not. Your mama knows it's not. Everybody knows it's not. Only you know it's not. Everybody knows it's not. All right. So the reality here is that it said, "On the earth held the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out." So the dragon, the devil himself, orchestrated a plan to drown us by flooding, using our religion to outdo the truth, to wipe out Torah, to wipe out the truth from Yahuwah. And so over time, they would think that we would evolve and become something else. But you cannot. Torah does not evolve. Torah is Torah from the day one. If Torah is wiped away, the heaven and the earth will be wiped away. Messiah said, "I am not come to change the Torah or the prophets." Because before Torah is swept away, heaven and earth will sweep away. All right, let me leave this about the dragon. You see the dragon, okay? Russia used to be called the red dragon. Back in my days as a Christian, that's what they used to teach us, that Russia is the red dragon. And one of you remember when Russia was, what do you call it, communist, and they controlled countries, in that region. Russia was feared by the entire world. If you're too young, if you're under 40 years old, you know nothing about what I'm talking about. You have to know about the days of Ronald Reagan and the days when the changeover happened, we go for Charles. Those days, those are what I'm talking about. Now, let's look at chapter 13. Let's look at chapter 13. Chapter 13 is where I want you to focus. Okay? Yes.
Why does everyone is in the Sunday church and they call it Israel? Why they are different from us? Why they speak that?
Say that one more time.
Alright, I was in the Sunday church.
Yeah.
And he was saying that I am an Israel because I decided not to go to their service.
Yes.
And I said that I'm a Shabbat keeper. And then
Yeah.
I said I'm an Israel.
Of course, because Shabbat and the Israel is together.
Oh, so they're saying that they're not a part of Israel.
But they know it. I'm going to tell you a few things that are logical. There's just a few things that are logical. Really. Let me just explain some things to you. Some things are so irrefutable that even if you want to say it's not true, the truth is there. There are no scriptural ground that anyone could use to say that the sovereign Yah create a new religion. Who? Let me just give you in a simple manner. Messiah said that there are other sheep that are not of this fold, but in due season I'll bring them in. Okay, you didn't hear what I said. Hold on. You say they refer to you as Israel. Most people in the Christian religion who read the scripture understand less than 10% of what the scripture said. And I'm going to tell you why I say it. In a Christian religion, when you read the scriptures and you see the word Israel, you refer to a land. I consider myself a good preacher when I was a Christian. And when you read and you see the word Israel, when you said all Israel, all Christian churches refer to Israel as a country. In Torah, in the scriptures, Israel, Yah has never referred to Israel as a country. Israel is always a people. The difference is they don't understand that when the scriptures say Israel, it's not talking about a country. And that's where Christianity, because I was a Christian too for 36 years. But when you say all the children of Israel, it says children of the people who live over there. That's not true. Children of Jacob, that's what it means. Children of Jacob, children of Jacob, children of the Jacob. That's what it means. But so as a Christian, the best they know is to refer to a people from a country. In reality, Israel is a people. So if you are referring to a country, you will never find the truth. When the sovereign is referring to a people. Not one of the prophets write to a country, they write to a people. Isn't that right? So, like I said, your perception of the word is what is going to make sense. It is how you perceive a word that is going to, I'm going to keep, you see that from the middle there? I'm going to start charging people for walking up and down. That 1, 2, 3rd bench right there, I have a problem with that. Those 3 benches. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to start charging people for walking up and down. It doesn't make sense to me. Because we just start, how long, we start an hour yet? It's not even an hour that we start. Or maybe an hour. But it's not necessary to go walking up and down. Alright. So, if when you read and you see the word Israel and it means a country, you're always going to be referring to a country. But if when you read Torah and understand that every time Yah spoke, every time Messiah spoke, every time a prophet speaks, he's talking to a people, not a country. It makes a difference. There was no such thing called Israel. There was no country called Israel. Even when the Messiah was here, there was no country called Israel. It's a people that's called Israel. You never go in Torah and see it said that I'm leading you into Israel. Did you ever see in Torah where Yahweh said to the children of Israel, I know my people, I'm taking you out of Egypt and bringing you to Israel. Did you ever see that? What he said, I'm bringing you into the land of what? So there was no country called Israel. It is in this new era because the people who will listen to call the name of refer to what the scripture calls a people, they refer to a country. There is a big difference, there is a gap. Right off the bat, once you start perceiving this thing, or interpret this that is talking to a country, you miss the whole thing. You miss it, you just miss the whole thing. And that's why Christians can never understand Torah. Christians will never understand Torah because they're looking, the message that is sent to the chosen people, the message that is sent to the chosen people, you're going to have to take the baby out. Listen to that, the what? Go, take the baby out. I'm not joking, there are people that are watching the service. Go take her into the playpen area and go over there. Matter of fact, as of next week, I'm putting something over there that y'all keep the baby over there. The child's starting to be rebellious already. I'm putting you out there too. I'm going to put you out there next week. Yes, dear. Question.
Something took place. I don't know if it was this year or the American
Pardon me?
The American president.
Yes.
Made a declaration where Israel or Jerusalem is concerned.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if Jamaican people understand what is happening right here. Can you explain what's really happening? I think making either Jerusalem or Israel the capital or
Yes, but that has to happen for the Messiah to come.
yeah, what is really happening right here? So let's explain what is
Okay, first of all, the people that live in Israel now, the white people that live in Israel, they are not Jews. Okay, they are Jews and Hebrews in Israel. I think there's close to 1 million people that are Americans, Jamaicans, because a lot of you don't know that. A lot of Jamaicans are living in Israel as a Hebrew Israelite. There's 140,000 Ethiopians that live in Israel as a Hebrew Israelite. There's a lot of other African countries, I'm talking about probably about 400,000 other African countries, people that moved there to live there because that was our first land. The people that live in that, what Donald Trump is doing, it is America and England that gave independence to the white people that live in Israel, saying that they are making Israel have independence. This is America and England that put them there in 1948. They gave them independence. Now, Donald Trump saying now he's building the capital in Jerusalem. That's prophecy. That's a direct move from Yahweh. It has to happen. So people do not understand what's going on, but Donald Trump, literally the word Trump means trumpet. Warning period. Take the warning. This is a warning. This is going to happen. Okay? So you have to understand that it doesn't even get bad yet. America and Russia is going to build the temple. Israel already asked Russia to come and build the third temple. Once the third temple is built, it's the end. They already find the calf, September 4th gone. A month ago, they find the red heifer, and they're rearing up that red heifer so that they can use it to sanctify the temple. They say, once they build the temple, Messiah said, not one stone on the temple. In other words, war is going to loom in the area until the whole temple is torn down. Okay? Get this. I want to rush through this before I even clarify. So let me just read through. Let me read through 13. I want to show you how you're tied the devil to what's going on. Okay? Look. Chapter 13. And I stood up on the sand of the sea, and I saw the beast rise up out of the sea. The beast come out of the what? The people. Again, the beast here is not a lion. The beast is a man. Come out of the people. The word sea means nation, people. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. Again, 7 European countries. I didn't notice that every church, every parish in Jamaica have a European. Anybody understand what's going on in Jamaica? You can find the Jamaican names in England.
Yes.
If you live in Clarendon and go to England, you'll find the reason why. You understand? Go to Santa Cruz up there. Santa Cruz. Go to Westmoreland. All of these different names. Saint Thomas is a Catholic. They put their curse there. Saint Mary. Those are goddesses. Those are deities. All of what they put on Jamaica, they put them in the curse of Greek and Roman deities. Saint Mary. Well, look up who is Saint Mary. Not that hard to find. Saint Thomas. Well, look up who is Saint Thomas. So if you say live, pardon me?
What is happening in Kingston? Kingston at the same time.
Listen, the whole place curse. I'm trying to send a message to you, you're not getting it. Saint Andrew. Listen, the literal name, Saint Andrew, means you're under Roman Catholicism. That's what it means. The clocks that they build in the city, every clock is representing a church. That's why the clocks have a bell. People need to run. People need to grab the truth and stop faking. I am trying to show you that in every parish in Jamaica, they put you under the spirit of deity that is evil. Saint Anne, Saint Mary, Saint Thomas. All these are Catholic and Roman and Grecian deities that mean you're cursed. And I'm talking to people not getting it because they think it's just a name. It's not just a name. You have to curse the place, to curse the people. I said to go on the phone and type in the origin of the word Clarendon and you will see. Every single one of these parishes have a curse name, and I'm trying to get that to you. It's not hard to find.
So we're not safe and nowhere in the no.
Where you will never be safe anywhere in the world. Period. Let me read it 13. So the beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 and 10 now, like I said, this is 7 European countries. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him power, and his seat and great authority. Now, I can only explain verse 2 for you if you know anything about world ruling power. Raise up your hand if you know anything about the kingdoms that rule the world already. I'm not talking about countries. If you know kingdom. If you don't know about kingdoms that rule the world, you'll never understand verse 2. Because everything about verse 2 is talking about this beast that comes out of the people, a part of it represents every other kingdom that rule the world. This is serious. Verse 3. And I saw one of the, for instance, the first kingdom that ruled the world was what? Babylon. He is likened unto what beast? Lion. The second kingdom that ruled the world is what? And he is likened unto a what? Bear. The third kingdom that ruled the world is what? Greece. And he is likened unto what? Leopard. Right. The fourth kingdom that ruled the world is what? Rome. And he is likened unto what? No. Dreadful and terrible. There is no description. He's referred to as a dreadful and terrible beast. Again, look at the amount of ways that he have. You have a little bit of lion, you have a little bit of bear, you have a little bit, the mouth of it look like a leopard, this part look like a lion. So he has all of the ways as the preceding kingdom. And so you have to understand these things. So the scripture said he is dreadful and terrible. There is no one beast in him. Yes.
So we are the wicked part of it.
We are getting the wickedest part. We are getting the wickedest part from the beast. Yes. Oh, sorry. So we're not even in the feet of iron. We are down. The iron is being the government of the Roman Empire. We are down into the toes area, which means the last part of it. Alright? Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded. All of this is talking about kingdom that used to kick countries in Europe that used to rule and wounded. I want to rush down quickly because I want to get to America. That's the part that I want you to get to. And they worship the dragon again, and they worship the what? Dragon is the devil. You see that? So all the beasts worship the dragon, which gave power unto the what? Beast. So the beast that was out of the sea is talking about the Pope of Rome. The beast that rise up out of, that's why the scripture said the mark of the beast. So the beast that rose up, that come out of the people, is the Pope of Rome. That's why the world looked to the Pope as the Almighty One. Yes.
So I'm going to ask a question. So don't think I'm sticking.
No, never. You can answer the question.
This is a Sabbath day, right?
Yes.
And this is God's temple.
Yes.
Should these things be taught in the temple? When we gather in the temple, what should we be doing?
This is not in the scripture?
No, I'm asking, it is there, but should it be taught in the temple?
Everything that concerns us must be taught in the temple. Nothing about us should be taught in the temple. Everything that concerns the kingdom of God should be taught in the temple.
Why I ask, I remember
sometimes when Jesus was here, he said that the temple should be a place of prayer.
Yes.
So when we gather here, we should pray.
You remember anything that Messiah taught in the temple? You know, just anything at all.
Yeah, he taught about the kingdom. He taught about.
So that's why I'm teaching about the kingdom too.
Yeah, he taught about the
The same kingdom that Messiah teach about, the Father's kingdom, that's what I'm teaching about. So it's okay to teach it. It's okay to teach it. And they worship the dragon, which gave power to the beast. You got to follow me carefully now. So it's the dragon, that's paramount, the beast, the pope, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Let's go down to verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Remember, blasphemy is to speak against Yahweh. And power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months. That is the same thing that is equivalent to 1260 years. Rush into verse 6. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the sovereign one, to blaspheme his name. To blaspheme his what? Name. That's why they don't want you to call his true name. They want you to say L-O-R-D and G-O-D. And to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and with the set apart ones, rather, not saints is not the right way, but the set apart ones, and to overcome them. And power was given him over the kindreds and tongues and nations. So the power that the Pope has is over kingdoms and nations and tongues. Most preachers that are Christian have no idea that it doesn't take, it's not a country that is ruling the world, because Rome is not a country. Rome is only a city. And Rome, one city that is in the country of Italy, is ruling the world. Just a city. That's a serious problem, because every other city in the world is ruled by the country. Rome, however, is ruled by the Pope. And today, the government of Italy has no jurisdiction over Rome, even though Rome is in Italy. Okay? I'm rushing verse 8. And as they dwell upon the earth shall worship, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, talking about the Pope, shall worship the Pope, shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the earth. This thought he made me tremble, that the people who are worshiping the Pope will not be saved. Let me read, it made me tremble. So hold on. So that could conflict what I say. There are other sheep that are not of this fold. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to accept what Messiah said. Messiah said that there are other sheep that may not be other sheep. He didn't say gold. So he may have his sheep among the gold. And he said that there are others that are not necessarily under this assembly, but in due season I will bring them in. Please understand, it makes sense now. Because he said in the Abraham, remember again in the book of Revelation, who is talking? Isn't it the Messiah? Yeah. He said, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship the beast, or worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. Remember, there's 2 books. Verse 9, if any man have an ear to hear, let him hear. So when I'm teaching now, if you can hear what I say and understand what I say, hear. Don't leave and say, well, you didn't understand it, and you're confused, and you're confused, and you can't. I'm just telling you what the word says. Verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience of the faith of the saint. And I beheld another beast. Now we're talking about America. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, but he speak like a dragon. He has 2 horns like a lamb. Now, horn means emperor. our king, our president. If you notice the relationship between the United States and Russia, never in the history of the world have Russia and the United States become one. So Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin has a relationship. Because I could never understand who is the two on. Not only that you have to watch America as a beast. America is a beast that looks like a lamb, but it's not. And I'm going to show you what America is not. America has the most sophisticated army in the world. Russia's army is probably 3-4 times the size of America. But America doesn't need the size to operate. America has the capability. America is the only country in the world that has an army base in every country, in over 50 countries in the world. Thousands upon thousands of soldiers. And don't name the country, because America is there. That's sad. What is your purpose? What is your present to spread out militarily across the earth? Because you expect him to fight. Get what I'm saying? And a lot of people talking foolishness about America. America, there is no power on the earth. China can't do America nothing, because it's American money make China rich. I guarantee you. If they didn't move the factory from America, because they don't want to pay us. If they didn't move the factory from America and go over China, China wouldn't have any money. China, 30 years ago, China wasn't no better than Cuba. Seriously. But America went to China and began to build factories. Don't realize they can't take up the factory afterwards and bring it back to America. And they begin to train the people to make Samsung phone and computer. And they build everything in China, because of course, if you build an undershirt in China, it costs you 50 cents to make the shirt. If you build a shirt in America, it's going to cost you $5 to make the shirt. It's rich folks in America, because America is the richest country in the world. No country in the world can support a full-fledged army that live in Germany, Italy, France, Spain, England, South Korea, you name them. America's presence is there. America is not alarmed. America has been quiet for a long time, and that's why you and I can't get used to Donald Trump. Because you're used to him, you're used to America, the lamb. America is not a lamb. But it has two horns and the twist with it. I do not know if any one of these preachers know that the other horn is Vladimir Putin. They are the two countries that Israel asked to come and build the temple. The only other country that could represent the second one would have been England, because England and America work in every sense they work. But right now, the relationship between Vladimir Putin or between Russia and America is it's never been seen before. Please understand that this is what you need to keep your eyes on. This, what I'm talking now, what you need to keep your eyes on. Verse 12. And he exercised it. Watch this. Remember that he said that the first beast was so powerful that all the people worship him. Isn't that right? Yes. That's the Pope, right? If you think the Pope is powerful, check this out. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. All of the rape that these priests and these popes have raped people across the earth, the Catholics remain. It may look like they don't have a lot of people, but you don't need a lot of people if you have power. And so as the world go after the Roman Catholic, so the scripture said, and the power of this new beast, the Roman Catholic will not have the authority that it needs unless America gives it back. It was America that began to give people Bibles to carry. And America will be the first country that stopped you from carrying them. It wasn't England, if no King James translated the scripture. You could not be found anywhere in England with the scripture. But America began to give people freedom. The same beast who gives freedom when he was allowed, will now listen. And he exercised the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven, and the earth in the sight of men. Let me clarify this. And he allowed bombs and missiles to fall out of the sky. And he allowed bombs and missiles to fall out of the sky, that he allowed people to tremble on earth. Donald Trump says we have astronauts that live up in the heaven. You know what he said he's going to build now? I told you the other day. This Donald Trump, you know the American army has 3 wings. You have the army, you have the Marines, those that work in the ship and the submarine, and you have the Air Force. So we have 3 wings. You know what Donald Trump said? By the time he gets out of office, we will have the space wing. Literally, they will put an army in heaven. Y'all think it's a joke? So now they're building a ship that is so big that once they launch that up in this space, and it's not going to necessarily fall, but they don't realize who live above them. So the ship will watch over space. So America doesn't have to attack you from California or from New York or from Florida. They're having now a wing of the army, which is the 4th wing. He said we have been having 3 wings of the army far too long. Far too long. Now we need a space. We have the Air Force, we need a Space Force. Man. You think he's joking? Alright, I'm getting that now. So he says he's going to make missiles come out of the heaven that people tremble. Verse 14. And deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of these miracles. People will tremble because of America's power. Because of these miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound, which had wound by the sword, and did live. In other words, regardless of the reputation that the Catholic Church have, that they rape so many people and do whatever, America is coming back to fix up the Catholic Church, and it is America that is going to say, all right, one world religion. Yeah. And watch this, the bad part about it, they're going to allow the so-called Jews to continue. But if we who are Hebrews, we are the ones that are going to come after. Because again, in the time of Messiah, the religious people and the government was one. Isn't that right? In America, it's the same thing. They are one with the government. So, they are going to, Donald Trump, the Pope is already rewriting the scriptures, you know that? Yes. He's rewriting the commandments. Because a parent, 2 parents doesn't have to be a man and a woman now. So if they allow you to carry the real scriptures now, the real scripture is going to say, honor thy mother and thy father. When the Pope rewrites it, he will say, honor thy parent. That because your parent may be 2 men or 2 women. Or women. Your parent could be 2 females or 2 males. Or you don't know if he was male and become female or male or whatever. Listen, if you ain't married yet, try marry somebody who you know from grassroots. Don't come to America and marry nobody because you don't know what you're getting. You can marry somebody and in bed sleeping and say, baby, oh, I just love him. I love you. I love you. And then you say, hold on, baby. Guess what happened? I forget the last time that they whatever, I have to go back to the doctor to get them to do this. And you say, what? He said, oh, well, I was born, man. These things are going to happen. Quickly, because we time against it. And he had power to give life. Watch it. And he had power to give life unto the image. The image. He had power to give life unto the image. You know what the image means? To build up the Roman Catholic church into a world ruling power. If you were about 40 years in Jamaica, it would have been a crime to open your shop on a Sunday. If you go to the Caribbean countries that are ruled by the British, you open your shops on Sunday, because Sunday is supposed to be a rest day. The devil, the president of the United States of America will go back and give power to Rome to hold the people in a world religious image, to worship the image. One world order. And causes many who would not worship the image of the beast should be what? If you don't want to worship the image, if you don't want to worship on Sunday, you will be killed. The only people that will be exempt is the friends, the Jewish, not the Jews. But we who are Israelite and Hebrew Israelite, we are going to have a hard time. And that's why we are going to be persecuted, and you cannot always run. And you will be killed. And he caused all those small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 666. 666. Anything that tie you to paper Rome make you a Catholic. You could keep Shabbat every day, but if you're under the Catholic religion, you are a Catholic. If you're under the Christian religion, it don't make no difference. You could say you're keeping the feast day, but if you are a Christian, you're under Catholicism. Period. That's how powerful it is. And it may not be enforced now, but that's why these people in Jamaica wanted to give you an ID, and they're still going to come back with you again with the ID, where they can use facial recognition and find you wherever you are. Any question? So if you want to go to America, and those of you that think coming to America and living a nice, good life, I don't know if you're going to find that after 5 years. Yes.
All right, first of all, the ID, they're saying that the same information that they're asking us to know is the same information that they
The same information that they're asking you for now, in order to give you the new ID thing, is the same information there that what?
they use
Overseas? They don't force you overseas like they're forcing you here to do certain things. Not that they're not going to do it. But America and England, America and Russia is wise. If they start to force us to get the mark of the beast in America, what's going to happen if Jamaica is free? What time? People are going to run from the oppression there. But what if they start to clamp down in the island first? They'll be able to trap people. So by the time I get here, and I move from the United States of America, they're going to tell me, now you just, Mr. Douglas, you just move here. You're going to have to do so and so, and that's why I don't want their name again.
No, but they said that those who came from overseas here, they're not going to ask them for it.
That's a lie. That's not true. First of all, I had high respect for the Prime Minister here, but I think he's a liar. And let me tell you why I think he's a liar. I see what they say, that in order to control criminal elements, the politicians what? Create criminal elements in Jamaica. It's not the criminals created, it's the politician and the law enforcement. If law enforcement was effective, criminal, we couldn't get to where it is. And if the politicians weren't creating it, so I don't care what kind of ID you give. It's not ID solve crime. It doesn't help. Yes.
That's why, what her name was, police,
Oh, that guy, I saw him in the news. That British guy. What's that British guy name?
That's why he said, Marshall.
Yeah, I read about him. He said that the crime in Jamaica cannot be solved because it is the police force.
Yes.
It's true. It is the police force that create crime in Jamaica, isn't it?
50% of them are criminals and that's true.
No, but it's true. There is no doubt about that. He didn't go into the government because I guess he don't want a problem with the government. But it's the politicians in Jamaica create crime, and the police is a part of it because the police can't solve nothing because they're criminals as well.
Because even though they're saying about the ID, I'm thinking that when the police force is so corrupt, and they're saying that our information is personal, or if they have a case, they're gonna, they're saying it's a particular set of officers are going to view the information. But if the police force 50%, as Mark Sheila said, is corrupt, then the information now will go to their friend and wherever.
All right, I want to talk to you. I'm going to ask you to lock me off of here so I can tell these people something and close out. I want you to love me. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. That's on live stream. We love you. Thank you. Please join us again as we have scripture study later on in the week. I want them to lock me up so I can tell you some great stuff right here.